watched several videos on the 70-week prophecy of Daniel. You know, there's a lot in the Bible that confirm Christ being the Messiah. But if you want to present something to someone as evidence to show that Jesus is the Messiah, when he was here in the flesh, is the 70-week prophecy by Daniel. Here we go. Angel comes to him, tell him there'll be 7 weeks followed by 62 weeks, and they're weeks of years. Several places in the Bible it referred to days as years. Even Jesus did that. So it wasn't weeks of days, it was weeks of years. It would be seven weeks followed by 62 weeks. Then after the 62 weeks, the Messiah would be cut off, but not from himself, from us. The first 7 weeks would be 7 times 7 is 49 years. 62 times 7 is 434. So if you add the 7 weeks and the 62 weeks, and you got 69 weeks with 1 week left. But the 69 weeks is 483 years. This was going to happen. Well, when is it supposed to start? When the command was given to rebuild Jerusalem. And the command was given more than once. But the decree that was given to rebuild the temple and the city was the one that it launched from, which is in 457 BC. It's interesting. You had 7 weeks and 62. What happened after the 7 weeks? Jerusalem's rebuilt. What happens when you add the 7 weeks and the 62 weeks and get 483 years? You arrive at the baptism of Christ at 30. You weren't considered adult till you were 30. He would be cut off after that. So you got 69 weeks of years. It's happened. Now you got 1 week left, which is 7 years. You go halfway through those 7, and he's crucified. And they stopped sacrificing animals at that point. Well, what happened the last 3.5 years? Well, at the end of that, Stephen was stoned, claiming they weren't following the covenant. They stoned him to death. He was the first martyr of Jesus Christ. And the gospel went to the Gentiles. The disciples were told to preach to the Jews. Christ had interaction with Gentiles, but it was all directed at the Jews. But that completes the 70 weeks. Some people think the temple coming down, Christ predicted the temple coming down. It would be not one stone would be left, and Titus took it down in 70 AD. But that's 40 years forward. Some claim that's part of it. I don't know how. Some claim that it stopped and there's a church period, and that the last 7's tribulation. It was a 70-week prophecy, and that's 70 weeks concurrent. I think that's concurrent, just straight. But no human being could predict that many hundreds of years ahead of time without divine intervention. It's impossible. Nobody could. And the more I learn about the Bible, the more I realize it's not that long ago. It is, as far as for the life of one human being, but it's not that long ago in time. It's not. I think Notre Dame was built in like 1000 or 1100, somewhere around then. The cathedral. You go back another 1,000, you're right at that time. Isn't it interesting how some people will believe someone in the last century said it happened millions and millions and millions of years ago, but they'll disbelieve what's only a few thousand years ago, saying it was made up. That's fascinating to me. There's so much confirmation as Christ the Messiah in the Bible that you learn it. In the Old Testament, they even said where his injuries would be. He would come in on a donkey. No bones would be broken. You can't predict all like that accurately without divine intervention. Oh no. Oh no. All right, that's enough rambling for Saturday. Have a good one.